Hey everyone, my name's Cody. Before we get started, I want to thank you for clicking on this video. If you do enjoy this Walking Dead content and want to see more like it, please like, subscribe, share this with your friends and family. Gets the video seen by more people, starts up the conversation about the Walking Dead a little more. And with that out of the way, let's get started on today's main topic of the video, which is the Walking Dead, the ones who live, and my expectations for the show. So my expectations are set pretty high here for the ones who live. It's been the first time we're seeing Rick in almost 6 years since he left the show first back in 2018. Michonne also left, I believe it was 2019. It's been a long time since we've seen those characters. Really looking forward to the story that brings them together and all the different obstacles that are going to be in their way trying to get back home. Also with how great Dead City and Daryl Dixon have been, I'm 100% positive that the quality for this show is going to be on par with those, if not better. I'm expecting some heavy action sequences. Definitely, I want to see a lot of walkers. I want to see thousands of zombies if possible. The CRM has been making a lot of different hordes of walkers, colonizing them, and using them to help them destroy other communities. So I want to learn more about how it is that they're gathering up all those walkers. I know the Walking Dead World Beyond leaned into that a little bit of how they herd them around, but I want to get a little bit more of an explanation on that and where they keep this horde of walkers whenever they're not using it. I know the show is going to be big because it's the return of Rick Grimes. Also, the CRM has played a heavy role in the series since they were first introduced back in Season 8, when Rick first started seeing the helicopters and when Jadis was first revealed to be trading people for supplies to the CRM. I'm very interested in seeing what the CRM has in terms of what the Civic Republic is like. We know that the CRM is really just the military side of the Civic Republic. I want to know how many people there are at the Civic Republic. I know we heard around 200,000, and quite possibly that's not all the military. There's no way that's all just military there. So I'd like, a breakdown of how many people are really with the military and how many are actually just living normal lives at the Civic Republic. I definitely do want to know more about how much of what the CRM is doing does the Civic Republic actually know. It's been heavily speculated ever since this show. We got our first look at it. A lot of people have been theorizing that Rick's going to lose his hand in this show. While I do think that is actually going to happen, I used to think that it would be something that they would kind of build towards in the story. That might happen towards the very end of the show, maybe in episode 5 or 6. But the more interviews and things that I've seen about the show, I'm really starting to think that it's going to happen pretty early on, possibly in the first episode. No spoilers here, I don't know anything for sure. But just based off what we've seen and a few different interviews, I'm getting the feeling that it's going to happen pretty early on. If you haven't seen the interview with Denai and Andrew about the show, you should definitely go check that out. I saw that on comicbook.com. Though a lot of people seem a little upset about the idea of Rick losing his hand, I think it could be, if done right, a pretty intense moment and something that's definitely going to change that character of Rick Grimes moving forward. I'm really looking forward to just see how they handle that, as I'm pretty sure that it is going to happen at this point. Originally, I also thought that General Bill was going to be the one to take his hand, but again, I've kind of changed my mind on that. I'm thinking that Rick's ultimately going to have to cut his own hand off, whether that be because he gets bit or his hand gets some severe infection or something, or burns severely. I think ultimately Rick is going to be the one that has to do that. I do somewhat still wish that it was General Bill that took his hand, just to give them a bit more reason to hate one another. But it being this way, I'm perfectly fine with that. I also used to think it was pretty ridiculous, the idea of Rick cutting off his own hand, because a lot of the theories I heard were, what if he's handcuffed and he just is trying to get out and escape the CRM, so if he cuts off his own hand. I thought that would be a little crazy, because it just doesn't really make sense to cut off your own hand to get away. What's he going to do? He's just going to run around in the woods till he bleeds out, and then Walker just stumbles upon him and eats him while he's passed out. Or just, really, if he's just out there in the woods, and why would he want to cut off his own hand with no way to cauterize it, no way to stop the bleeding at all? no reason, no way to prevent an infection or something like that. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But seeing the circumstances that may lead up to it in the show, it would make kind of sense for him to cut his hand off if what it seems like is going to happen is going to be the case. You know, it seems like he's handcuffed to a CRM officer, and they are out making people like Rick go kill these walkers, and maybe something goes wrong. Rick has no choice. He doesn't want to stop and wait for someone else to make a decision, so he, quick thinking, just takes out his own hand. If it plays out somewhere like that, that would make a lot more sense to me. And one more thing I wanted to bring up, another big expectation I have is that Morgan Jones is going to show up at the end of this show, either at the very last few minutes or in a post-credit scene. I expect to see Morgan Jones back. You know, you don't throw him on some dog crap of a show that Fear the Walking Dead ultimately was, and just sideline his character and we never see him again, especially not the way that they ended his story in that show. He's clearly on the walkie-talkie. He says he's looking for Rick. He's going out to find him. I think inevitably Morgan and Mo are going to be the ones to either find Rick, or they will find maybe that message in the green bottle that Rick threw at the end of The Walking Dead, the original show, when it looked like he first escaped the CRM. I think possibly maybe Morgan finds that bottle and then goes and finds Rick somehow, some way. And maybe that's a good setup for season 2. Maybe by the end of this season, Rick and Michonne are held captive by the CRM or something, and you know, they don't make it out and make it home like they thought they would. And Morgan finds out where they are, and now it's up to Morgan to go out and try to break them all out, and all 3 of them get back home. But if we don't see Morgan Jones at all, I'm going to be pretty disappointed, especially the way that they set his character up. It's really just the next logical move for him to find Rick. That's all I got for today's video, guys. If you did enjoy this, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts and theories are. If you agree or disagree with some of what I had to say in this video, I'd like to keep the conversation going, so just let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. What do you think is going to happen in this show? And let me know, how excited are you about this show coming out and the return of Rick Grimes. That's all I got for today. Thank you.
This isn't everything! You don't get to choose for the world. You don't get to choose for me. My wife is my choice. My daughter is my choice.